black side is the sanitizer, and then they wipe the heat ends before the units are put on. Once the units are put on, an automated system here keeps track of the cow's milk as it's being milked, and automatically takes the unit off when the cow is completed milking. The cow is then post-dip. They have an opportunity to get a drink of water here before they get off the parlor, and then they just walk off the parlor back and return into the stall. Right here in the milk house part of the building here, our milk is stored and cooled in 2 smaller tanks. These are older tanks that we brought over from other farms as we did our remodeling about 19 years ago when we built our milking parlor. Our milk, when it comes in from the parlor, we filter it, run it through a plate cooler to cool a lot of the heat off, and then it goes into milk tank coolers and stored until the milk hauler picks it up. The milk hauler picks up milk here once a day, and that milk is taken to Belgian also cheese plant where it's made into cheese, Italian cheeses there. The milk hauler, when he is here, has several different tasks. First, he'll measure the milk. After the milk is measured, he'll turn on the agitators to agitate and stir up the milk because it's raw. The cream floats to the top, so they need to agitate that in to get an accurate milk sample. Once he gets his milk sample, then he will hook the hose up from the truck and load the milk onto his truck. Milk samples, of course, are tested for many different things, including antibiotics, fat, protein, solids, water content, and so forth. Of course, this also hoses our chemicals we need for the cleaning of the milking equipment and buildings and so forth. And of course, the system is washed 3 times a day, once after each milking with the automatic washing system.
I'm Mark Tauscher, here with my nephew Greg White to feed calves. This is part of Tauscher Farms, probably the most important part of any farm. Just get the calves off to a good start. We start them out with a 1.5 pound milk replacer and a gallon of milk per day. We feed twice a day for now. We're thinking maybe 1 to 3 times a day in the future. We usually keep the calves in for about a month and a half until they're weaned. With our new feeding program, we're actually able to get them out about 3 to 4 weeks of age. We have about an extra 25 pounds on them, and by weaning time with the new feeding program we're on, they seem to be very hardy and aggressive now. Once they're weaned, we keep them on a calf starter until they're 12 weeks of age, and then they go up to the other farm into the CoverAll building that we have, and they stay in there until they're ready to have a baby. With the genetics for Tauscher Farms, we use all young sires on our cows, all calving yeast proven sires on our heifers. I try to use about the top 10% of the breed in my selection for the heifers. We do use the sex semen. Experimentally, I've learned that the hot days and the real cold days aren't the best to use it, so you kind of have to pick and choose when the best time to use it is. I kind of use the genomics that's been out now for the last 6 months to help pick out some of the young sires that I use.
This spring we decided to purchase some irrigation equipment. We had a well on a piece of land that we previously purchased about 20 years ago, and the last 3 years we got caught with the drought and hit us pretty hard in several different ways. One is the loss of crop production because of the lack of moisture. The other thing we found is when crops are stressed from extreme drought, they're more susceptible to aflatoxins and mycotoxins that grow on the plants as they're out in the field. And those raise havoc with the cows when you start feeding that feed. So we decided to bite the bullet and make the investment on irrigation equipment here. Behind me is one of the systems running right now. We currently have about 1/2 of our acreage under irrigation right now, and with the hopes that we'll have some quality crop to put in the harvest stores for our cows through the winter. And if all goes well, we'll have a little bit of extra corn to sell this year. This system, we're covering about 365 acres with irrigation. We put in 3 separate center pivot systems, and they're all accommodated with 1 well. We ran about 7,000 feet of underground pipe to accommodate these 3 different systems. And so we do have to switch some valves to get the water going to the right field when we change from system to system. We do incorporate a nutrient management program into our cropping system. Nutrient management program takes into account soil samples, the crop that you're growing currently and from the past years, and production from the fields, and calculates the amount of manure that we can put on each acre of land. The manure is pumped through hoses and injected directly into the ground. About half of the manure is put in the fall after the corn crop is off. The other half is put in the spring before we plant.
My name is Tauscher. I feed in charge of feeding animals here at Tauscher Farms. I also crop person here. All the feed and crops grown here are used on the farm. All of our feed is stored in upright silos here. We feed our animals twice a day here, so they have a fresh feed in their feeder a longer period of time. Things we feed here is corn silage, haylage, steam flake corn, and a protein mix that changes as the mix changes as the commodity changes. To keep it cost effective, we change ingredients to that protein mix. This is what the market says. We feed about 29 pounds of corn silage a day, 41 and a half pounds of haylage, 13 pounds of steam flake corn, and 11 pounds of protein mix a day. That gets mixed together. We feed it to cows. It's a pump feeder that's run on a conveyor that we designed and feed that we. In the coverall building, we're not really feeding more feed, but the heifers are utilizing it more because the environment is better for them, more conducive for them to grow. So they're utilizing the feed that we give them, so there's less refusal coming back from heifers. So.
People that come here, I enjoy showing them the features of the building. The first reaction, I didn't give too much thought of it before, but they all say there's a wow factor when you first walk into these buildings. And that's, you open up, these are clear span buildings, they're light, and like I say, a airy feeling to them. And when you walk into them, you just, the first thing is you just look up and around to see the expanse of the building. It's such an open feeling. Even contractors that came into here while we were building the structure just came in there, and almost every time the first word out of their mouth is, wow, this is nice, you know. So it's just a different feeling walking into this kind of a building. The construction went very quickly, and once we finally got our permitting, everything came together quite quickly. This building was erected on the concrete wall in about 16 days. So the construction of the building was very quickly as compared to what I've seen regular steel barns, pole barns being built. One of the nice features of this, because of the high room, they were able to get in here and do internal excavating with large equipment without having to worry about hitting the roof. So they were happy about that. This construction project went relatively quick compared to what we've seen in the past in other buildings or other building projects. This building is held up very good in the weather. We've had winds clocked, sustainable winds clocked up to 60 miles an hour. The building's withstood all those weather conditions. When we first moved into the building, we hit an extreme cold snap before we got to figure out how to handle the animals and so forth in here. We were dealing with cold weather issues already, and the building itself was not an issue on that. It stood up to the winter weather. The snow load was not an issue with it. The rain never has been an issue with it. It's held up to everything Mother Nature's thrown at it so far. And that's one reason why we went with this kind of a building for our young stock, is because they are out of the extreme elements. We don't have to try to deal with feeding or them eating in the rain or the snow or whatever extreme conditions are out there. They have a fairly stable environment in here, protected from all the harshness of the weather outside. I certainly would invite anybody to come out and see it, and give them the opportunity to make their decision based on what they can see here and based on how happy we are with the building.